Right now, you are probably feeling completely exhausted by your modern job. You wake up to an alarm clock that interrupts your natural sleep. You spend your best hours working under bright office fluorescent lights. You trade your precious lifetime for paper money and digital screen digits. We believe that this constant daily grind is normal human behavior. We assume that our ancestors worked even harder to stay alive. We picture them struggling every second in a brutal, hostile world. We believe that working 40 hours a week is a natural law. We check our emails, answer phone calls, and attend long meetings. We spend hours commuting through heavy traffic to sit at desks. We worry about mortgages, credit scores, and retirement savings accounts. This creates a state of chronic stress that exhausts our brains. We feel like we are constantly running on a fast treadmill. But this way of life is a very recent human invention. For most of our history, humans had no concept of jobs. They did not work for a boss or accumulate material wealth. They lived in the present moment, following the sun's cycles. Their days were filled with movement, connection, and deep rest. But this dark picture is a massive historical lie we tell. Our ancestors did not live in a state of constant labor. They had more free time than any modern corporate employee today. They were already living the life you are working to retire. If you want to understand this hidden truth, look closer. Here, we find the real origin of human time and freedom. To solve this mystery, we must travel to the Kalahari Desert. The year was 1963 in southern Africa. A young anthropologist named Richard Lee arrived at a remote waterhole. He wanted to study the daily lives of the hoansi people. These hunter-gatherers still lived the way our ancestors did for millennia. Lee decided to count the exact hours they spent securing food. He expected to see a desperate, exhausting struggle for survival every day. Instead, his detailed records shocked the entire scientific community back home. He found that adults spent only 15 to 20 hours working. This was about 2 to 3 hours of work per day. They spent the rest of their time sleeping, playing, and visiting. They had no clocks, no bosses, and no stressful weekly schedules. They did not worry about the future because food was all around. They lived in what scientists call the original affluent society of Earth. This study changed our entire understanding of human evolutionary history. It proved that prehistoric life was not a constant, desperate battle. The hoansi lived in the dry, hot Kalahari desert environment. This was not a fertile paradise filled with easy resources. Yet, they secured everything they needed with minimal daily effort. They gathered mongongo nuts, roots, and wild melons from the bush. These foods were highly nutritious and rich in vital calories. The women gathered in groups, talking and laughing as they worked. They did not experience gathering as a chore or hard labor. The men hunted cooperative game, sharing the meat with everyone. Lee tracked their diet and found it was rich in protein. They consumed over 2,000 calories per day, on average. This was more than enough to maintain a healthy, active body. Marshall Soslands analyzed this data at a major anthropological conference. He argued that wealth is not about having many material possessions. Instead, wealth is about having few wants and abundant free time. By this definition, hunter-gatherers were the richest people on Earth. The Kalahari is a vast savanna with sand and scattered thorn trees. Water is extremely scarce during the long, dry winter seasons of Africa. Yet, the hunter-gatherers lived in relative abundance without farming the dry land. The elderly members of the tribe played a crucial role in society. They did not gather food, but held the memory of water holes. They knew which plants were safe to eat during extreme droughts. Their knowledge was the ultimate survival library of the entire group. The children spent their days playing and imitating the adult tasks. They were not forced to work or contribute to food production. They learned through play, developing strong social bonds within the huddle. Marshall Soslands contrasted this lifestyle with our modern consumerist mindset. We always want more goods, which keeps us working forever. They wanted very little, so their needs were easily satisfied daily. But how could they secure food with so little daily effort? The secret lies in our unique evolutionary biology and anatomy. Humans are not the strongest or fastest animals in the wild, but we possess a biological superpower that no other predator has. We are built to dump heat through our bare, hairless skin. We have millions of sweat glands that act as cooling systems. This allowed our ancestors to hunt in the midday heat of Africa. They used a method called persistence hunting to capture large animals. They would chase an antelope during the hottest hours of day. The antelope could run much faster than the human hunters could, but the animal could not sweat to cool its body down. It had to stop frequently to pant and release heat. The human hunters kept jogging, tracking the animal through the grass. They did not let the animal rest or cool its temperature. Eventually, the prey collapsed from heat exhaustion and muscle failure. This hunting method was incredibly efficient and required no complex weapons. It allowed a small group to secure meat with minimal injury. This biological weapon gave our ancestors abundant food and free time. Water evaporation from the skin absorbs a massive amount of heat. This cooling mechanism prevents the human brain from overheating during runs. Animals with thick fur trap their metabolic heat inside their bodies. They must slow down to prevent dangerous brain damage from heat. Our ancestor understood this critical biological limitation of their prey. They also developed highly sophisticated tracking skills over many generations. They could read the shape of bent grass and disturbed sand. They could predict where the animal would run to find shade. This cognitive map was as important as their physical running endurance. They read the landscape like a complex open book of clues. The hunt was a beautiful combination of mind and body working. To chase down animals, Humans evolved specific physical running adaptations. We have an arch in our foot that acts as spring. We have a large gluteus maximus muscle that stabilizes our hips. We have a nuchal ligament in neck that keeps head steady. But our greatest running advantage is our ability to sweat freely. Most mammals can only cool down by panting while standing still. They cannot pant while running at high speeds of chase. They must stop to release the heat trapped in their chests. Humans can sweat while running, dumping heat on the go. This thermal regulation was a vital advantage in the dry, open grasslands. No other predator on Earth could track animals under such conditions. Our ancestors turned the midday sun into their own lethal weapon. This evolutionary shift changed the course of human history forever. The hunters would select a large kudu, or gemsbok animal. They would push the animal into the hot midday sun. They kept a steady jogging pace for hours without stopping. The animal's body temperature rose to a lethal level. Eventually, when the animal collapsed, the hunt was successfully completed. This method required no complex bow or metal-tipped spear. It was a clean victory of human endurance and biology. They used this free time to gather around the evening campfire. Polly Wiessner studied these night campfire conversations among the Jew hoansi. She found that day talk was about practical and economic issues. But when the sun set, the conversation shifted to stories. 81% of night talk was stories, myths, and jokes. The campfire extended the day, allowing humans to bond and imagine. This was the birth of human culture, art, and shared beliefs. They sang songs, danced, and shared their collective dreams in dark. Campfire storytelling also stimulated the production of bonding hormones in brains. Listening to stories releases oxytocin, which builds trust between tribal members. It helped align the emotions and goals of the entire group. This shared imagination allowed them to plan complex collective actions together. They woke up during the night to tend the warm fire. This split sleep pattern is known as segmented sleep by scientists. It was the natural way humans slept before electricity was invented. During these quiet night hours, they talked, checked safety, and bonded. The night was not a time of fear, but of cozy safety. Polly Wiessner recorded thousands of conversations over 40 years of study. She compared the topics discussed during day and night hours. During the day, they talked about tool making and logistics. They discussed who would gather roots and where to hunt. But the night fire changed the entire social dynamic of group. The firelight created a safe space shielded from the dark, under the stars. They shared ancient myths and stories of ancestors. They used stories to teach children moral lessons and values. They resolved conflicts through humor, teasing, and cooperative jokes. This night talk allowed them to develop a shared cognitive world. It was the foundation of human religion, philosophy, and art. They slept in a single, cozy pack near the warm embers. This was the huddle that kept them safe from predators. This safety was not a solitary competition for survival in forest. It was a shared, cooperative anchor of deep tribal trust. If a hunter was injured, the tribe fed them anyway. If a gatherer was sick, others shared their roots and seeds. They cared for the weak, the elderly, and the children together. This radical empathy is the true secret of human evolutionary success. We did not survive because we were selfish, independent killers. We survived because we knew how to huddle together in dark. In France, archaeologists discovered the skeleton of an elderly Neanderthal man. He had lost almost all his teeth before he died eventually. He could not chew tough wild meat or fibrous root vegetables. His survival proves that other members of his group helped him. They must have pre-chewed his food to keep him alive. This level of daily care requires deep empathy and patient love. It shows that survival was a collective effort, not individual race. They valued his presence and wisdom more than his physical labor. This is the true spirit of the ancient human huddle. Archaeological bones show that ancient humans cared for the disabled. In Shanidar Cave, scientists found a skeleton of a Neanderthal. He was blind in one eye and had a crushed shoulder. He had lived for years with these severe physical disabilities. This proved his tribe had carried and fed him daily. They did not leave him behind to die in wild. They huddled around him, sharing their food and warm shelter. This cooperative survival is the core identity of our species. We did not evolve to be selfish, competitive corporate workers. We evolved to be members of a loving, supportive huddle. But then, 10,000 years ago, everything changed for us. We discovered agriculture and began planting seeds in the ground. We thought we were controlling nature and securing our food supply. But this agricultural revolution was a massive biological trap for humanity. It forced us to work long, grueling hours in fields. It ruined our joints and exposed us to crowd diseases. We traded our freedom for population volume and social inequality. We built cities, classes, bosses, and the modern workweek grind. We locked ourselves in the very cages we are fighting today. The transition to farming was not a sudden, happy human choice. It was a slow trap that closed on us over centuries. As population grew, they could not return to hunting and gathering. They had to work harder to produce more food for children. This feedback loop created the first crowded, dirty, human permanent towns. It led to the rise of rulers who controlled the grain. The free hunter-gatherer became a peasant tied to the soil. We are still living with the physical consequences of this shift. Our spines and teeth still suffer from this ancient dietary change. Our minds still long for the freedom of the open savanna. You are not built for a 40-hour office desk job. Your brain and body are wired for the ancient huddle. We must remember the slow, cooperative wisdom of our past. We must cherish the connections that make us truly human. If this video changed your perspective, leave a like today. Please subscribe to our growing channel named Ancient Huddle. It helps us share these stories of human evolution with you. Thank you for watching, and remember to cherish the huddle.